Hello, I have been speaking to you under the theme, the quest for the uniform and sustainable or sustained development in Ghana. And when I say Ghana, I mean Africa, but I'm using Ghana as a case study. And so today I'm going to continue under the same theme, but I'm going to look at the area of education. There is nowhere in Ghana or any African country that you will go that you will not hear or you will struggle to hear the statement or the phrase, education is the key. Men and women are demanding proper education for their children. Leaders, if it is the chiefs, they are advocating for good education for their people. Church leaders are speaking and asking the government for better or quality education. The ordinary men and women actually condemn themselves that they are unable to do anything because they do not have proper education. They didn't go through the formal education system. And so today, my duty or my purpose here is to look at this area of our life, this aspect of our lives as Africans. And then let's see how we have been able to, or how we have done, and how we are moving ourselves forward in as much as the quest for better or quality education for ourselves and our children. And as I have always been speaking, education is an inheritance. Formal education is an inheritance from the Europeans, just as church or religion, Christianity, governance, and all other things are inheritance from the Europeans. We didn't create it. They created it and brought it to us, and we adopted it. And so before I go on to do my presentation, I would like to take this opportunity to ask you, whoever is listening to me, to subscribe to our channel and also like and share these messages in your network and help us to bring this message of empowerment and mental liberation for our people, such that every man or woman in Ghana, and for that matter Africa, will play his part in the quest for uniform and sustained or sustainable development in our countries. And so education was given to us by the Europeans, and as far as Ghana is concerned, if you take countries like Ghana, Nigeria, Sierra Leone, Tanzania, Uganda, these are British colonies. And so we inherited the formal education system that we have from the British. And as I spoke about the police service with regards to what we have today and what the British have, it is the same thing I'm going to do with education. And once again, I am speaking from experience. You see, starting from Ghana, I was trained as a teacher. As a matter of fact, I attended Tamale Training College and went through the teacher training course or program and became a qualified teacher, a full-time teacher after secondary school. And so I taught. I was posted to the district that's in Adansi East, in the New Edibiasi area. So I taught as a teacher before actually going to the University of Ghana. And so when we talk of education, as not going through as a student, but as someone who participate or who partook in the rendering of educational services, I know what it is as a teacher from the Ghana perspective. And then in the UK, I went through the same process. I went through the United Kingdom, United England teacher training system, and I became a professional teacher. I taught in England for over 3 years to 4 years before I migrated to Canada. And so whatever I'm speaking, whatever I'm saying, it's not something that I read from books, but it's something that I actually experience. I know exactly what I'm saying. Even if it may not be the same, the differences or may not be that much, because I know, especially with Ghana's situation, the Ghana Education Service and Ghana education system has not changed in any way. Even if there has been some changes, it's just some patch-ups that they might have done to it. So what I'm talking now is about the structure and the mode. The mode or the method by which we offer education in Ghana and, for that matter, all other African countries. You see, so if you go to the UK, the requirement or the minimum requirement for you to become a teacher is a first degree. And so if you have a first degree in history, let's say history, economics, accounting, geography, that is what you read at the university. You have a degree in that. So for you to qualify to teach even in elementary school or secondary school, then you are required to go through the teacher training program, which is offered by at the university. And so you go through this program, and when I attended, it was 9 years. And that introduces you to the elements of teaching, not your subject area. So you already have the academic knowledge in your subject area. And therefore, you are only going to be taught or trained as to how to deliver your subject area in a classroom as a teacher. So you go through that, and then when you are done, you'll be given what we call postgraduate certificate in education. And on top of that, for you to qualify to teach in England, you have to pass what we call the QTS, that is qualifying teaching status, by the General Teacher Training Council of England. They conduct this exam. So you have to pass these exams, then you'll be given the qualified teaching status. So to become a teacher in England, let's say you were born and raised, you grew up in England and you want to become a teacher, this is the process by which you have to go through to become a teacher. Now let us look at Ghana. Ghana, since independence, I can only begin from there. Teachers have been people who actually completed secondary school. And as a matter of fact, I know for sure in Ghana that it is only those who couldn't gain admission to university, and some of them they took the branch into teaching. You see, most people go into teaching not because they love it, but because there is no other option, and so they go into art. So after secondary school, if your grades are not good enough for you to get into university, then you go to teacher training college or polytechnic to do some of these courses, you see. And so teaching in Ghana, the minimum requirement, or the requirement for you to become a teacher is to complete the secondary school, get your GCE. Then you go into the teacher training college, and you are trained to become a teacher. But as a matter of fact, if you look at this situation, the person who's been trained to teach, let's say, accounting, hasn't done accounting at any high level, apart from maybe the secondary school level. And that person becomes someone who is going to teach younger children accounting or economics. This is our system. And so you will see that the people who are delivering the education, who are teachers, teaching students, are actually not abreast or are not at a level that they understand their subject area. That is one flaw of our educational system. So if you look at it from the British system and our system, those who gave it to us, who gave education to us, they saw the importance of having someone in the classroom. Don't forget about the fact that the teacher is teaching children. the way you deliver your lessons, and your knowledge about what you are teaching, your knowledge in your subject area is very important before you are laying the foundation of future adults. And therefore, someone who had just completed secondary school, to be trained, to be placed in front of the future leaders to teach them some of the topics that they themselves don't understand, doesn't make sense. And that becomes one of the biggest flaws in our educational system. And therefore, teachers are people who are teaching some subjects that they don't understand it into details. They have only basic knowledge that has been they got from secondary school. You see? And so that is a big flaw. But we are still holding on to it. And that is what we are doing. So now, if you go to Ghana, all teachers are not university education. I don't know by now, but that is how the whole thing is. You see? And so if you don't have education or the background in what you are teaching, that means you are handicapped. That is the one big flaw in our education system that it needs to be looked at. And then when you come to even after the teachers are trained, when teachers are trained, how do they get employment? And how do they, the system that they go through, let's compare it to the British system. As I was saying, I was trained at Tamale Training College, TAT school. Then after completing my course with my colleagues, then we were posted to stations. Someone sat somewhere and then distribute all the teachers to anywhere that the person thinks is right. And so you go there and you begin your teaching. No other factors were taken into consideration. But all you have to do is to go there because you have completed your teacher training education. And then when you go there, the logistics, all the things needed for a teacher to function are not there. And one of the key things is, from my experience in Ghana as at that time, and I know for sure it is the same thing, teachers, young teachers who have just come out of college and are posted to new stations tend to stay for months or years without even salary. Rigidities and all kind of bureaucratic tendencies comes in. And so you're just dumped into a certain village and you are left to fend for yourself. It takes time for teachers to get their pay. And sometimes you go for your pay, they say your pay is what? It's underpaid. There are these issues. And sometimes, I remember our time, they said they have some of the district accountant has to travel to maybe the regional or maybe Accra to see the accountant, controller, accountant, all kind of things. Now, look at the kind of ordeal that teachers who have been trained to teach future leaders go through. Now, let us look at the English system. If you go to England, as a teacher, when you complete your teacher training program, no one posts you to anywhere. But the English system is that the schools themselves advertise the positions within their local authority, the local area. And as a matter of fact, these postings are open to the whole country. And so when you apply for the position, you apply to the school. And then the school conduct the interview. You go for the interview. If you're able to perform and they are satisfied with your performance, then they appoint you as a teacher. And when they appoint you, your employer is your local authority, the local authority in which the school is located. And in my case, I got a job at a school in the London Borough of Hillingdon. And so my employer was the London Borough of Hillingdon, the educational department. So salary and all other things are done at the local level. There is nothing like bureaucracy. There is nothing like someone, a young teacher or a new teacher has just completed education that has been posted to somewhere that he's struggling to get his pay. Everything is done efficiently, professionally. No one travels to the headquarters in London from any part of England to talk about the salary of teachers. No one talks about the delay of the payment of teachers. Everything is done at the local level. And so when you take these two examples and you compare it, you will see how things are done efficiently and they get the right results. And while things are done anyhow or things are left to just degenerate into something catastrophic, that we get bad results from it. You see, and so what I'm saying is a fact, and I want to appeal to any man or woman that is listening to me from England or United States or Canada, anywhere. Please, you can do your own research and you will confirm what I'm saying, especially if you're in England, United Kingdom. You will confirm what I'm saying. And so education is organized in a very efficient and delivered in a very efficient way. And the fact is that it is the local administrations that controls the appointment of teachers. There is no one somewhere sitting somewhere that is distributing teachers to anywhere like the regional administration or the district administration. It is not postings. It is a job being advertised. Then you apply for it, and when you perform based on their criteria, then they take you to teach. You see? And so they make sure that any man or woman that they will appoint to stand in front of the kids is the qualified person. Yes, you may go through the program, but you may not have some qualities that they are looking in a teacher for that particular program or that subject. And if they are not satisfied, they will not take you. You see, this is how education is conducted in the modern world. But now, Ghana, it is still the old school, the old style, you see. And so I have been given this education to you, the ordinary men and women, my fellow Ghanaians, for a purpose. And as I've always been saying, I am not speaking to the president of Ghana, His Excellency John Mahama. And even if I'm speaking to him as a citizen of Ghana, not as a president. I am not asking him to implement what I'm saying. But you, the ordinary man and woman, I am empowering you. And when you know your rights, when you know your responsibility, what you expect from your government, then you would demand it from them. Or you make changes in the process. And so this beating of drums about education and that in Ghana or in Africa, nothing will work. We can go around the world and borrow some pieces of ideas and try to implement them. They will not work. Because the basis, the structures, and upon which the education is supposed to run efficiently in the modern world now, we do not have it. And it all comes down to the lack of proper and efficient running of local administration. The development of Ghana will be possible, will be a reality, only when we turn our attention from the national big time projects and all those things. Those things are good, but they have their time. But it is only when we have the local communities, the society everywhere in Ghana functioning properly, then we build from the ground to the top. And then the top becomes something that, like what I said the other day, the icing. So they'll do these projects. The fact is that whatever project that the national government will embark on doesn't reflect in the living conditions of the people. But when we do it from the local level, it is the improvement of the people, and it is the improvement in the life of the people that we aggregate to become the national outlook or the outlook of the nation that we call developed or underdeveloped. So Africa is called underdeveloped. Ghana is called underdeveloped because our communities, our towns and societies are not properly structured. They are not properly developed, you see. And so my appeal to you, especially my brothers and sisters in the diaspora, those of you in the United Kingdom, and I know a lot of Ghanaians and other Africans who are actually teachers because I was in the teaching profession in the United Kingdom. My appeal to you is, let us come together and let us look at how these things are done and see how we can influence the running of education in Ghana. It is only when we get things right, it is only when we get the proper structures in place that whatever we want to do in Africa, we want to do back home, will succeed. And so there is no use. You can decide to go and do whatever you can. If you have money or whatever, you can decide to go and do whatever you want to do in Ghana. But the fact is that you are adding more to the problem because the structures that are needed for whatever you are doing and all other people want to progress are not there. You see, every community must see some form of improvement. And this can only be possible only when we look at it from the local level, the grassroots, the local administration, from the town to the district level. Each unit is functioning well and performing its duties, particularly educational sector. The educational sector needs to be restructured in such a way that teachers would no longer be post-secondary holders, but teachers must be university graduates. Now we even have more unemployment, graduate unemployment. It is when someone who has studied economics in the university, if the person wants to be a teacher, he goes and do the postgraduate certificate in education. And he blends his knowledge in education and his academic knowledge, and he will become a better and efficient teacher. And so if you want to improve the quality of education, then first we must seek improvement, that is a reformation. And that begins from restructuring, creating and restructuring our local administration in a better way. As it is now, Ghana has no proper local administration. Municipalities and all these things are there in names. Nothing is happening. Nothing is happening. Our towns are not planned. Look, all our rivers and other things are dying. They are dying because those things are supposed to be maintained by the local administration. And I'm speaking from experience where I'm living in Canada here. If you go to any municipal area, it is the council or the various councils in towns and cities that manages the rivers, the part of the rivers and other things, the other water bodies and other natural resources within their area. And so everything is done in a way that they preserve it and they make sure that things works, you see. And so education, this is just one area or maybe one or two areas that I wanted to bring it. It's so broad, but I can only give you a gist. Begin to do your own research. Try to understand the education that is happening outside Ghana and then compare it to what is happening in Ghana. Whatever education we desire to take our children outside to go and have, the people it didn't come from heaven as manna into their lands, but they intentionally develop it. And if other people have intentionally developed educational system that we are craving for, then we should be able to design our own educational system in line with whatever we are craving for, such that we will run it and deliver it to our own children. And that is when Ghana can be seen as a developing nation. And so, as I've always been saying once again, whatever any government in Ghana has done, and even the present government is doing, nothing is going to change. No drastic changes in the life of the people, no drastic improvement in the life of the people will happen. In most towns, all the towns, what we call street lights and other things, they will not see it as it is, or the development of the town. Now, as it is, you go to a particular town, the street lights are not working. They are waiting for the government to come and fix it. This is the work of the town administration. but the town people don't even have any administration, you see. So this is the time for us to seek, for us to begin to think of uniform and sustained development. And that begins from looking at our local administration, having proper functioning local administration to move Ghana to a level that you can travel from point A to point B, point C to point D, A to Z. You will see a line, a certain trend of development. Same thing. Even if there will be differences, the differences may not necessarily be as a result of lack of some basic thing, but as a result of maybe the population and also, the population and other factors. But as a matter of fact, whatever thing that is needed for a human being in the 21st century should be seen or be felt and experienced in any part of Ghana. That is my message for you. A word to a wise is enough. And that is all I can leave with you. Thank you, and God bless you.